Welcome once again to another Chef Knives Quick Look product review. I'm Steve Gamache, and what we have this time is the Kohetsu Western or Yo-handled HAP40 Santoku, a 180mm knife. So these have a construction of 3 layers. The hard center core cutting edge steel is what's known as HAP40 semi-stainless. It's a very high hardness at 65 Rockwell steel that holds a great edge for a long time. It's recognized as one of the more longer lasting edge retention type steels in the kitchen knife world at this point in time, and yet it's not too hard to sharpen. It's definitely easier to sharpen than something like ZDP 189. So if you put good stones on it that are good cutters, it sharpens up actually quite reasonably. And again, do a good job on the sharpening and you'll get great edge retention. The construction is soft stainless cladding on either side of that hard core cutting edge steel, and it wraps over the top of the blade. This stainless cladding does stain a little bit in practice, so almost think of it as kind of a light semi-stainless steel. And don't be surprised if you get a little bit of staining on the cladding as well as the core steel. So in a high volume environment, pro environment, you'll definitely get a characteristic kind of light patina on the whole thing, which looks pretty cool, honestly. Or you can keep it clean if you want to, depending on your preference. Weight and dimensions on these should be similar from knife to knife. This is 169 grams, or about 6 ounces, right on the money. And then the edge length is about 178 millimeters, or 7 inches. And the overall length is 297 millimeters, or just about 11.7 inches. Spine thickness, these tend to be very similar all the way down. This particular one's 1.9. You'll get maybe 1.92 millimeters kind of ish thickness, and it just holds it all the way down. And then these thin out just a little bit of taper to them. A little bit of distal taper as you get towards the tip. The bunka has a little bit thinner tip than this one, so the performance of the tip on the bunka is going to be probably just a touch better, but this is not bad. And they both have similar grind on them as far as the thickness at the edge, or thinness at the edge. I will say that the or Japanese handled versions of these knives tend to be just ground a little bit thinner than the Western handled versions. So if you're choosing between performance, I would pick the version. But if you want something that's a little bit more, not much, but a little more robust and maybe a little stiffer blade, and of course you want the heftier feel of the Western handle, then obviously this is your choice. Fit and finish is nicely done on these. Can I get our beauty shot going here? They have a stabilized wood product called pack of wood. It's a brown pack of wood on these for the handle. You've got a full tang stainless steel tang going through the handle for your slabs here on either side. You've got stainless pins in there, or rivets, and a full bolster that flows right into the blade that's done very nicely. So they've got nice fit and finish on these. The handles tend to be just kind of average feel as far as thickness and just size. And then not super rounded on the slabs. You tend to have a flat slab here, and it kind of, not a sharp corner, but a fairly quick flow into the bottom and top of the handle. So it tends to lock in your hand pretty nicely. Balance point on these are going to be a little bit further back because of the heavier handle. It's right about, just about at that choil or the back of the blade here. These have really good fit and finish, nice consistency from the maker, and you've got a embossed kanji on the right side of the blade as you'd be holding it. You can see your finish marks here on it. It's a little hard to show you, but there's your cladding line. You've got a polish section where they tend to thin out the right side of the blades, right side as you'd be holding it, using it, towards the edge to increase the performance a little. So you'll see a polish section on the right side of these blades near the edge, and on the left side they tend to not do that. You just have the actual edge bevel, but there's a look at that kind of wavy cladding line between the soft stainless and the semi-stainless HAP40 core. You've got a little bit of polish on the corners here of the spine to help make that comfortable. A pretty nice job on the choil here into the bolster. So these are comfortable right out of the box, and they come with typically very nice edges out of the box. They're quite sharp, and they're ready to rock and roll. So fairly stiff. These have these Santokus have a very nice profile on them. You've got a bit of a flat to them. These have a really sweet profile for a Santoku, and you've got a little bit of length to them too. They're 7 inches. Some Santokus like 170s. So this gives you a little bit more length, which they can do a little bit more at the profile. So here is our edge profile on these. And just a really nice all-around profile. You've got kind of a gentle, kind of very light belly towards the back where it kind of flattens out a little bit but flows into the rear. And then kind of a medium-low tip, so I can get in about that area, which is pretty high as far as rocking goes. So these will rock really nice, fun, you know, not super high stuff, but it's not a 240 or anything as far as length goes, so they do pretty well, I think. Great for push-pull cuts, maybe a little chopping towards the back. So this profile is just nice and versatile. It's a really good, it's one of the kind of good all-around profiles. I see a lot of Santokus, and these have just a good general purpose profile to them. So really nice knife, nice fit and finish, great steel, cool shape. Just you can get a lot of work done with these things. So this is the Kohetsu Western or Yo handled HAP40 Santoku 180mm knife.